All right, Algebra 1, welcome back to my garage. Here we go. Mr. Howell teaches elimination. When we talk about elimination, and we've already talked about this, so it should be a little bit of a review. Systems of equations. That means we have two equations of two lines, and those two lines are going to go across each other on the coordinate plane. And the one point where those two lines intersect, that's the location we're looking for. So our answer is going to be an x point and a y point, or x coordinate and a y coordinate, making 1 point. Here we go. Your assignment this week looks like this. Number 1, negative 4x minus 2y equals negative 12. Starting off with something easy. And then positive 4x plus 8y equals negative 24. So this is one line going across the coordinate plane. This is another line going across the coordinate plane. And these two lines are going to intersect at exactly 1 point, or have 1 point in common. And that's what our solution to this system of two equations is going to be. We're going to use elimination this week, and we're going to use substitution next week. That should be familiar to you, so it shouldn't be too hard to get this worksheet done. In number 1, we want to look and make sure the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, the equal signs and the constants are all lined up. And then you want to think, should I cancel out the x's here? I got a negative 4x and a positive 4x. If I combine them, I'll get 0. That's what I'm looking for. They'll eliminate. I got a negative 2y and a positive 8y. If I bring them together, I'm going to get a positive 6y. They will not eliminate. So I'm really focusing on the x's here. Remember, we draw this line and we add down or combine. And we have the negative 4x and the positive 4x. That gets you 0x. And that's basically going to drop out of our equation. I'm going to add down here negative 2 plus 8 is a positive 6 y's. And I have the equal sign, and then I bring these together. It's a negative 36. If you need a calculator, go ahead and use one. Again, the 0x, 0 anything is gone. It's nothing, so it's out of the equation. I really have 6y equals negative 36. Solve that simple equation. I'm going to divide by 6, get the y by itself, and I really have negative 36 divided by 6 gets you negative 6. You have one part of the answer. We need the x and the y coordinate, so I take my y coordinate, my y value, and I plug it back into one of the equations. I'm going to use the second equation because it has positive numbers right here. So 4x plus 8, but I know what the y value is right there. Y equals negative 6, so I'm going to plug it in with parentheses like that, equals negative 24. Now I can solve for x. 4x, 8 times negative 6 is negative 48, equals negative 24. A simple two-step equation here. Step 1, bring the constant to the other side of the equal sign, add 48, add 48. That's gone over here, leaving me with the 4x equals negative 24 plus 48 is where I'm doing my math, and I get a positive 24. Divide by the 4 here to get the x by itself, and I get x equals 6. I have the x value and the y value for my point where these two lines intersect. Remember, I put them together in a point, the x value first, comma the y value, boom. And this is actually my final answer for this equation system of equations. That's an easy one. It's already set up to eliminate. The x's are positive 4 and negative 4 dropping out automatically. Let's see one where it might not happen as easily. If you look at number 6 on your worksheet, it's going to look like this with an 8x plus y equals negative 16, and then have a negative 3x plus y equals negative 5. So here's where you think to yourself, am I going to get the x's to cancel out? 8 and negative 3, they don't really match up too easily, but I do have a 1y and a 1y. So a positive 1 and a positive 1. That's going to be 2y if I add them up. I don't want 2y, I want 0y. So you remember I have to manipulate one of these equations or multiply the whole equation by a value. And if I want to change that sign to a negative, I'm going to multiply that whole equation by a negative 1. That negative 1 has to distribute there, there, and there. So negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3 with the x. Negative 1 times positive y is negative y. Basically, all the signs are changing. Equals, and this is going to be a positive 5. If you want to, you can rewrite that top equation right down here with it. So we're just rewriting that down here so that I have these two equations now right on top of each other. You notice you got the negative y and the positive y. When I add them together, I'm going to get that 0y, which is what I want to get that to drop out of the equation completely. I do have a 3x and an 8x now. That's going to be 11x plus this 0y equals negative 11, right? So since that drops out, I'm going to be able to divide by 11 on both sides, and I'm left with that x equals -1. That's part of my answer. I'm not done yet. Got to plug it back into one of the equations. Pick whichever one you want. I'll pick the top equation this time. They're positive over here. 8 times the x value. 8 times that x value. I know x is -1, so now I'm going to plug it in. I have half my answer done, so I can use that information back in the original equation. I'm doing that. Plus y equals -16. So I got -8 plus y equals -16. I got to get the y by itself, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides to get this to cancel out. I'm left with y equals a -8. That's another part of my answer. If I put those two pieces together, I get the x comma y point is -1 comma -8 as a point. I box it in. Again, the first one was already set up to eliminate the x. The second one, the y's were both 1y and 1y, so I had to change one of the signs. I did that by manipulating or multiplying one of the equations by a -1 and set up this so I can add, and boom, I got a 0y. And then I could do the same process again. Let's see what happens if all the numbers are different and you need to pick a number to multiply by. If you look at number 12 on your worksheet, it looks like this: -7x plus y equals -19. And then I have -2x plus 3y equals -19. So again, I look at these, I see a -2 and a -7. I can't really turn them into each other or make them cancel out very easily. I have a 1y and a 3y. If I multiply that top equation by a -3, it'll turn that +1 into a -3y and a +3y, and those will cancel out. So I need to actually pick. Here it's just a -1 that set me up to eliminate. Here it's going to be a -3, and that's going to kind of attack the y's here and get the y's to eliminate. So I'm going to wrap that top equation. I'm going to multiply by a -3. You can put it on either side. I guess I'll put it over here if you want. Remember, that has to distribute into all three pieces. -3 times -7 is +21x. -3 times +1y is -3y. You see those matching up right now. That's nice. And you have a -3 times a -19, which is a +57. I don't really have to rewrite that equation. I have them lined up right here. I could put it down here if you wanted to, but I'm just going to take these two equations and add them down. 21 minus 2, or -2 plus 21, is going to be 19x. And +3y, -3y is plus 0y. You don't even have to write that in there. You can just say it eliminates, it's gone. See you later. And then you have equals, what's this going to be, a +38. That's nice, right? Yep, that looks good. And then I have 19x equals 38 divided by 19 divided by 19, and you're going to get x equals 2. I'm done. Part of my answer. I need to take that piece and plug it back into one of the equations. I'll use the one with the smaller values right here. It's a -2x. The x is going to be a +2 inside there, so I'm using this equation right here. I'm replacing that x with the +2. I still have +3y equals 19. So I have a -4 plus 3y equals 19. Two-step equation. Add the 4 to both sides. It's a -19. Sorry. That's what I was wondering what was going on here. +4 plus 4. Boom. See you later. I got 3y equals -15. Divide by 3, divide by 3, y equals -15 divided by 3, or -5. That's the other part of my answer. 2 comma -5. That should be what your answer sheet says. You can check that if you scroll down. And remember, in order to get credit for this, you can't just give me this final answer like they're giving you. You have to give me this whole setup, this whole work, to get down to your final answer. You have to get to tell me what you're multiplying by. Write the question down, put it in your notebook, show me the work to get to the answer, and then you'll get full credit. I want to give everybody 100. I want you to earn a 100 and keep your A, but you have to show me the work that you know how to do it. Should be a review. This stuff's in the SAT. If you need more help, you can always go to another YouTube video and take a look at that. Make sure you finish your assignment by Thursday. I'll see you guys at 9 a.m. Thursday morning. Thank you. See ya.